Howdy do, everybody. So, welcome up. Do you want to do the intros, Owen?
Yeah, that's fine. Sorry we're a little bit late. Trying to get some things situated before we got started tonight, so we don't have the problems we had towards the end of the show last night. Um, this is another Q&A show here on the Popcast Network. Your bi-weekly chance to ask anything and everything. So, lots to talk about, and actually, we're going to kick off the show with what was left over from last time that we had to put the kibosh on, but I have a few things from Spencer Reed from last time before we get started. Before we go any further, might want to do a proper opening. Welcome everyone to another Pop the Question here on the Popcast Network. My name is Owen. Joining me as always, we have Ashley.
Indeed.
And we have AJ.
Yeah.
This is your chance to ask questions about anything and everything, within reason, of course. And every single time, it is you, the viewer, that brings the content to this channel, because if it wasn't for you guys and girls out there, there would not be a Q&A show because we'd have nothing to talk about. So, once again, we thank you for your questions and commentary here in our live chat. If you are listening to us on archive, feel free to leave comments and we'll get to those as well. So, I'm going to try my best to keep up on this. Unless something drastic comes up, we probably will cut chat at 7. If there is enough time, we could potentially, you could leave comments, and if worse come to worse, we can always go back to them. Trying our best to do a flat 2 hours tonight at the most, if possible. Try not to do these marathon 3-hour shows if it is possible. If not, then we'll get there when we get there.
Yeah,
AJ,
I basically haven't slept, so that sounds good to me.
Yeah, so if we get anything past 7 o'clock, we may end up saving it for 2 weeks down the line. But don't worry, just like we did before, we've got everything saved. So we'll kick off the show with questions from last week. Spencer Reed asked a bunch to kick us off. Favorite old Hollywood scene in a movie?
3 came to mind from, well, 2 and then just whatever you call it.
Okay.
The Lana Turner scene in LA Confidential, where Guy Pearce thinks it's a prostitute and accosts her, and Spacey has to tell him it's the actual Lana Turner. It's great. Weirdly enough, despite my opinion of this movie, one of the first things that came to mind was any scene with Arliss Howard and Mank.
Yeah.
Those were clearly the highlight of that movie. And any scenes in Ed Wood where he's just kind of going around the lot and just finding inspiration.
Ashley, any questions? Thoughts?
Although it's not really sort of the studio stuff, like a fair few bits of Sunset Boulevard. Not like anything in specific. That's the closest I can think, rather than sort of going sort of. Because although I like Hollywoodland, I don't think there's like any sort of standout scene in it.
Sure. Spencer continues. Thoughts and favorite scenes of the Way Way Back. I love them watering the water slide. Way Way Back was a movie AJ and I got to watch theatrically, and it made us. We both enjoyed it for different reasons.
It was really good, but to be perfectly honest with you, I haven't seen it since then.
Same.
I remember Rockwell being great.
Yep.
The scene, when you think of the way back, you know, there's like the scenes at the park and everybody having fun. The first scenes I think of are the scenes where Steve Carell is being a douchebag, because it felt like that was a performance that kind of came from out of nowhere. And I
Sure.
remember the scene where the kid like finally stands up to him and kind of tells him off a little bit stuck out to me, because you can kind of see that Carell like never expected to be played by him, and it's really satisfying.
Favorite scene on a train track?
The assassination of Jesse James is just cheating, right?
I'd say so.
I feel like Stand By Me is cheating also, but those are obviously the top two, I think, unless I'm forgetting like a real. There's probably a few major ones, but those are the first two that come to mind. And the test scene in Kingsman is really good.
Ashley?
The wrong trousers.
Oh yeah.
I mean, you gotta put that track down.
It's fair. We move on with our next question here. Most upsetting death scene?
Very first one that comes to mind is Giovanni Ribisi in Private Ryan. And basically anytime somebody is like saying that they don't want to die when they know they're about to.
Yeah.
Like there is a harrowing scene in Henry VIII where Emily Blunt is about to be executed. Apparently, it goes against history, because apparently Catherine Howard was like really stoic when she was executed, but just the way Blunt, I probably because it's Blunt also, I just find that scene really distressing. I don't think I could ever see it again. And kind of a similar thing to Leto's last scene in Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, definitely.
And one I've mentioned a few times before, and anytime kids or animals are dying, the first one that comes to mind is Kim Richards in the original Assault on Precinct 13. That was so unnecessary, and I hate that scene so much. And it's fucking terrifying and sad, and just
Ashley, do you have an answer to this?
Jojo Rabbit.
Oh, yeah.
Just the way it pans across with the shoes. Not that it's upsetting, it's more like sort of it comes out of nowhere, and just the presentation of it is just so expertly done.
I guess I kind of feel bad saying this, but not really, because it's the truth. Dewey.
Oh.
And to a personal basis, not that it upset me, it just angered me that it had to happen, but I get why they did it. Syndrome in The Incredibles. He didn't do enough that he needed to die. Honestly.
I'm sorry. You're talking about Syndrome from The Incredibles, right?
Yes.
How many superheroes did he kill?
I'm biased. I don't care.
That's a hot take. Syndrome did not do enough to deserve to die.
No, Syndrome did not do enough to deserve to die.
I didn't think of this ahead of time, but I'd throw Clerks 3 in there.
100%.
Yeah.
I mean, it didn't happen in the movies yet, but I mean, I obviously have always had a connection to Robin and the Batman universe, and Jason Todd comes to mind.
I'm looking at my Blu-ray of Doctor Sleep right now. I'm still not sure how I feel about killing Danny Torrance.
Not what you'd expect to have happen either.
especially since it's straight from the book to do that.
Sure.
I think I like the ending though, so sometimes it doesn't sit right with me, but if I actually watch the movie again, it's like, all right, I get it. It's fine. It's well done.
Okay, I'll go with that. That's fair. I would probably say Mandy Moore in A Walk to Remember.
No, yeah.
Jamie Sullivan, I understand why, because it was the story, but I mean, I didn't want that to happen. And then they killed Mandy Moore off in the Final Fantasy universe and pissed the entire world off. Ashley knows what I'm talking about with that. So, most hilarious death scene.
I've got a whole list here.
Oh, goody.
I got a whole list that came off the top of my head.
Oh, wow. Nice.
First one obviously is Marvin in Pulp Fiction.
Yeah.
Val Kilmer and MacGruber.
Odd.
He just keeps going. There's like some animal is roaring whenever an explosion happens. Steve Coogan in Tropic Thunder.
Yeah.
Okay, this one contradicts my it's always upsetting whenever it's kids. This one kind of contradicts that. The O'Doyles and Billy Madison.
Such a great one.
Rip Torn in Dodgeball.
Yeah.
And one of my personal favorite under the radar answers, Anthony Rapp in Road Trip. where he forms a suicide cult and he does it and then everybody else decides they don't want to.
That's a really good answer. Ashley, you have any answers of your own?
The one that came to mind for me was the swordsman in Raiders. When he does all his things and just Indy pulls the gun out. It's just it's just the ultimate subterfuge of like, oh, okay, this is gonna be some bit. Oh no, wait, it's done. Right, next scene.
I mean, I don't necessarily think it was funny. I know. Because these aren't funny things. I mean, it's listed as funny, but I don't see it. Sam Jackson in Deep Blue Sea. A lot of the deaths in the Lady Killers.
Oh yeah, all of them.
Because I never forget that "Let's Go Back to God" song that would play after every single one of them.
I was about to say Marlon Wayans is kind of played straight because it's the first one, but then J.K. Simmons' reaction to it is still funny.
Fair. Favorite fight in the snow in a movie?
Why I would bother with this one? Am I gonna say anything other than The Bride versus Iran?
Yeah, that's
Maybe,
such a
maybe
universal.
the opening battle of Gangs of New York, maybe. But after The Bride and Iran, I don't know what other answer there is to this question.
Isn't there some sort of a Star Wars answer we could give too?
Not really, because you don't really see any battles in the snow.
I mean, there's everything that happens on Hoth. The Last Jedi looks like snow, but it's salt.
Okay,
Is that what you were thinking of?
that might be right.
I mean, the only close sort of battle would be the ending of Force.
Okay.
I mean, you know, I was completely. I just came up with The Spy Who Loved Me, even though I know that's skiing. Technically, it's a fight in the snow.
Dang it, Josie. I knew that was what I was thinking too. And great minds think alike. Brad Pitt and Burn After Reading.
Oh my god, of course.
Chad Feldheimer.
Yeah. You already brought up the Lady Killers. It's like I feel like there's a lot of Coen Brothers answers there, probably.
Oh, for sure. Honestly, there's probably a lot of Wes Anderson too.
Yeah, Willem Dafoe and the Grand Budapest Hotel came to mind.
Yeah. I mean, it's not funny, but I guess it's kind of ironic that Chubbs and Happy Gilmore.
Yeah, that's a good answer.
Yeah, I'll keep that. So, we move on. Favorite scene in Toboggan? I mean, come on, it's Cool Runnings.
I mean, that's just a sled, right? Basically.
Yeah, it's a toboggan sled. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So you could like totally cheat and just say Citizen Kane and leave.
Yeah, that's true.
Home Alone, obviously. It's a Wonderful Life is great because of how crucial it is to the plot.
Sure.
It's not like it's not really like a sled like that, but you know, Christmas Vacation comes to mind.
Goodness.
I mean, other than Cool Runnings, the only one that came to mind for me was the you think finale of On Her Majesty's Secret Service. And mainly, like, just because of the true story of they went on an actual toboggan track that's killed people and managed to do it safely.
I hate how everything is so out of order today. Trying to keep track of everything is crazy. Ashley, you have the chat too, right?
Mm-hmm.
Favorite scene in a sewer?
Well, the obvious answers would be like Shawshank and It. I guess I have one that's sort of off that path.
I got two of them actually. One that I'm surprised was not obvious.
What's that?
Turtles.
Yeah, that's where I'm going.
Okay.
But I picked up. Usually, I would just say, well, any of the scenes in that, but I have a specific one for Turtles.
Okay.
We're talking about the original movie, obviously, the original live-action movie, and it's when Michelangelo's waiting for the pizza guy when he says, "Pizza dude's got 30 seconds."
Yep.
And you'd think Michelangelo's the character that like doesn't really have much care and doesn't really think, you know, critically or anything. And there's this moment where Donatello says he's talking about there coming a time where they're not going to have Splinter.
Sure.
And Michelangelo just doesn't say anything for a long time, and then just says, "Okay, time's up. We got $3 off the pizza." And you can tell he knows the Splinter situation. He's just choosing to ignore it because he's a teenager.
Sure.
And it's a surprisingly sort of deep. I mean, it's got a few. The campfire scene's also great too, but I mean that scene in particular where it's surprisingly subtle.
Right. All right.
I had the climax of The Third Man.
Oh,
They
yeah.
purposefully leave it vague when the gunshot rings out as to what actually happened.
I stand by my Turtles answer, but now I feel so uncultured now that I completely skipped over The Third Man in my.
Obviously, it's a good one and probably one that most people are going to go to, but I'm going to go with Ghostbusters. With the pink slime underneath the city.
Oh, yeah. The second one.
Yep.
That's a good one for a train track, too.
That's also correct. We didn't go with any movie that had trains in it either. We didn't do like Pelham or
Yeah, Pelham. The whole movie's on a like stationary on a train track.
yes. All right. Moving on. Favorite scene on a bridge?
Does it have to be on the bridge?
It says favorite scene on a bridge.
Because when I think bridge scenes, the first movie I think of is The Lost Boys, but
Right.
they're not. They're not really on the bridge. That's another train track, actually.
Yes.
What keeps coming to mind is a lot of the big climatic blockbuster scenes, like the Golden Gate Bridge action scenes, like A View to a Kill, or Rise of the Planet of the Apes. Rise of the Planet of the Apes might be my favorite, like, blockbuster bridge climax, probably. Or when they break out Philip Seymour Hoffman in Mission Impossible 3, I'm pretty sure that's on a bridge. Yes, it definitely is.
Nice.
Trying to think of more profound scenes. I guess the scene where Mickey and Mallory Knox kind of unofficially marry each other, and she throws off the thing.
That's a good one.
I had it's not the opening scene, but pretty early on in 28 Days Later, when Murphy's just walking out of the hospital still in his scrubs and whatever from whatever's, if it was some operation or whatever, and just deserted with the bags going and everything. Mainly because it's sort of amazing that something like that managed to get shot without CGI. Like he would have had a few years later with V for Vendetta and everything.
Okay. I mean, I guess I could say the Godfather with a toll booth.
I think that's pretty flat land.
Still technically a bridge, though.
Another one that is the opening scene of A Quiet Place. Not the opening scene, but the scene that follows the opening scene, right before the title.
All right. Favorite scene on a canoe or kayak?
I feel like we had this one, because didn't I bring up the Truth or Dare scene in Mean Creek?
I'm pretty sure you did.
Yeah. And the only thing that I could come up with is Deliverance.
We'll get rid of that one. Favorite scene on a go ahead. Favorite scene on a waterfall.
First one that always comes to mind when I think of waterfalls is The Emperor's New Groove. And it's not on the waterfall, but I do have to come back to A Quiet Place again, where Krasinski takes Noah Jupe underneath it and it's like the first time we hear somebody speaking at a normal volume in the movie. And it's like a really beautiful scene.
Ashley, you have an answer? We move on.
Lion King?
That's a good one.
The original one, not the live action one, you twat. John Favreau.
Favorite scene in a sauna?
I think I've mentioned this movie a few times, but I'll keep mentioning nobody has seen it. It's a noir movie that has a big crucial scene in one. Goldeneye comes to mind.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like we'd be remiss if we didn't mention Eastern Promise. And I have a non-movie answer. I also feel remiss if we didn't mention Seinfeld.
Seinfeld's always the
There's,
correct.
I say there's a couple of sauna scenes in Seinfeld, I think, but definitely one I'm specifically referring to.
They're real and they're spectacular.
Yes.
Yeah, the only one I came up with was Eastern Promises. Not technically a sauna, more of a sort of bathhouse. I guess, you know, in the same vein, but
We need some sort of a wiki for the network so we can make sure we don't ask the same things over and over again. Because that's the same problem we run into with, hey, let's do this movie. Let's review this. Oh, that's right. We already have. Is there a verse? Yeah, versus
Well,
our movie.
we've been doing this for over a year, so I feel like we're long past that point. That's
You're not
possible.
wrong. That ends Spencer's commentary from 2 weeks ago.
It does not feel like it was 2 weeks ago.
No, it doesn't. I got more, but we'll get to that in a minute. Let someone else take a turn of since we're bouncing around a little bit. Brian, personal Oscar lineups of 2013. Best adapted screenplay, August, Osage County, Captain Phillips, Despicable Me 2, Ernest and Celestine, and your winner, 12 Years a Slave.
Huh?
Original, The Croods, Gravity, Her, The Missing Picture, and your winner, The Dallas Buyers Club.
That was a really weak year just in general for original screenplay, so
Best Supporting Actress, Jennifer Garner for The Dallas Buyers Club, Scarlett Johansson for Her, Evangeline Lilly for Hobbit, and Margot Robbie for The Wolf of Wall Street. Your winner, Lupita Nyong'o for 12 Years a Slave.
that's not bad, but Lily's an interesting choice.
Best Supporting Actor, Faisal Ahmed for Captain Phillips, George Clooney for Gravity, Chris Cooper for August, Michael Fassbender for 12 Years a Slave, and the winner, of course, Jared Leto for Dallas Buyers Club.
Like the love for Clooney. Clooney does not get enough love for Gravity.
Right?
hold on.
Oh, we're to a movie that I know you very
Hang
much
on.
enjoyed, AJ, and I'm being extremely sarcastic when I say that.
Just changing the region. 'Cause
Okay,
it's
just making
being a
sure.
bit choppy.
Variel Bettens from Broken Circle Breakdown. Kristen Bell for Frozen, Sandra Bullock for Gravity, Dame Judi Dench for Philomena, and your winner, Julia Roberts for August.
A lot of love for August, so that's interesting.
Yeah. Best Actor, Steve Carell for Despicable Me 2, DeCap for Wolf of Wall Street, Chiwetel for 12 Years a Slave, McConaughey for Dallas Buyers Club, and your winner, Tom Hanks for Captain Phillips.
Yes.
Best Director, Jean-Marc Vallée for Dallas Buyers Club, Alfonso Cuarón for Gravity, Rithi Pon for The Missing Picture, Steve McQueen for 12 Years a Slave, and your winner, Paul Greengrass for Captain Phillips.
Nice.
And you want to guess what won Best Picture?
I have no idea.
Okay. Best Picture nominees: August, Broken Circle Breakdown, Captain Phillips, Dallas Buyers Club, Despicable Me 2, Gravity, Her, The Missing Picture, Philomena, and your winner, of course, 12 Years a Slave.
Pretty good list, I'd say.
Okay. What's going on?
Good list.
Yeah. Lots of things I wouldn't pick, but I mean, it's to each their own. I'm sure you guys wouldn't pick some of the things I would pick either, so.
Very true.
Good. Josie time. Hey, Popcast team. Recently read Joy in the Morning by Betty Smith, The Wonderful O by James Thurber, The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar by Roald Dahl, and apparently Wonderful O was a very original book. When an island is terrorized by two pirates named Black and Little Jack, they remove the letter O from the alphabet to try to get rid of anything that has zero in it. Interesting. I wish I could do that with the Cult Hats. James Thurber also wrote the short story that The Secret Life of Walter Mitty was based off of. He also himself was a renowned take a shot cartoonist. Wonder if The Wonderful O was an influence on the 2001 novel L.M.N.O.P., a book I read last year and loved. Set on the island of Nala, people pride themselves on their use of language. There's a statue of a man they idolize or worship named Nevin Nala, who coined a phrase using every letter of the ABCs. The quick brown fox jumps over the lazy dog. Letters start disappearing from the statue. The island council removes letters from their alphabet, and it's up to L.M.N.O.P. to save her island. On that note, what do you guys think screenplays and dialogue would be like if certain letters were missing?
Well, kind of saw that in Misery.
That's
I know that's not exactly what we're looking for, but
I mean, somewhat
Sure.
complicated because I've seen sort of Vsauce's little videos on books that have been made that I don't think use either the letter A or the letter E. Which, is cumbersome. I think the phrase is screwed.
Sure.
Screenplays and dialogue will be screwed.
Right now, I'm currently reading How Do You Live by Genzaburo Yoshino. So far, so interesting. Miyazaki's upcoming movie is loosely inspired by the book. It is named after the novel, having an original story that is not connected to it, though. On that note, I wonder if it will qualify as original or adapted. Will this be a Banshees situation where people believe that it will be adapted, but then it turns out that it is original? Interesting. Happy birthday to Francis O'Connor, Scott Thompson, character actor Gary Farmer, and Jay Muse. New watches since the last time: Distant, from 2002-2003, Il Mare, Death Race 2000, The Wonderful World of Puss in Boots, Cats Don't Dance, Romance in Manhattan, Singles, and Only You.
that inspires me to want to do a Death Race 2000 Cats Don't Dance double feature.
Ooh,
That just sounds.
that's fun. I think is it Il Mare or Il Mare? I'd say Mare makes more sense. Korean romance movie about a woman and a man who realize they're separated by 2 years of time when they exchange letters from different years in a mailbox.
Oh god. It's that they
Sounds
made
like
into fucking what was it? Lake House?
We're getting there. It'll be
Oh.
there, don't worry.
Yeah.
That was an English language remake that came out in 2006 called The Lake House.
As usual. Don't make remakes of foreign films. 9 times out of 10 they suck.
Cats Don't Dance trivia. The poster parodies the end. Take a shot. The poster parodies at the end are all of movies from Warner Brothers, New Line, or Turner. Makers originally conceived of parodies of other famous films such as The Sound of Music and A New Hope, but abandoned them because they would have to pay the licensing fee. The Mammoth Pictures logo was a parody of MGM, sports the Latin motto Optimum Est Maximum, or bigger is better. Of course, Ars Gratia Artis, arts for art's sake, is their real motto. Darla Dimple is a spoof of Shirley Temple, and Darla Hood was the child star from the 1930s that the name was taken from. Only You trivia, because we jump around here on the network. Robert Downey Jr.'s largest paycheck up to this point, paid over $2 million.
Blimey.
Fun fact, Marissa Tomei's character Faith, fiance, named Dwayne Johnson. My favorite character in Only You is Fisher Stevens. And I think we are moving forward. Ashley, I'm not missing anything, am I?
I mean, Josephine continued on, but if you want to pause there and switch to somebody else.
Well, I know she continued on, but I'm trying to get rid of it because if somehow I copied twice. Thoughts on Fisher Stevens as an actor? Favorite role of his? And fun fact, he's actually was born as Stephen Fisher.
I can't really think of a standout performance he's given. For the longest time, I used to think he was Nick Nightingale until I learned that was Todd Field. Because he's what? He's the bad guy in Hackers. He was one of the campers in The Burning. He's one of the henchmen in Super Mario Brothers. It's a weird acting career for an Oscar winner. Somebody that has like prestige to his name.
Interesting. Brian says we talked about. Go ahead.
He was in. I want to say he was at least in a couple of Woody Allen movies, but I genuinely can't remember.
Sure. Makes sense. Ashley, you have an answer? Favorite Fisher Stevens performance?
Not off the top of my head. I don't recognise. I mean, the only one that I see in the list that I sort of vaguely recognise him from is the Short Circuit films.
Yes, correct answer.
Yeah, that's right.
Whether we actually get to see the film, who knows? Apparently, he's making some sort of mini appearance in Asteroid City. So,
Fisher Stevens. I love Short Circuit.
Yeah. I remember seeing him at. I remember seeing the Cannes screening.
Yeah, Short Circuit's my correct answer on that for sure. Yeah. I love those movies. I don't even care.
I was gonna say, I think his performance is held in question these days, but yeah.
Plausible deniability. Brian says we talked about Cannes last episode, but there's one movie we all forgot about, May December. Todd Haynes' new movie that Netflix got.
I was talking to a friend recently about Todd Haynes, and it was interesting how I was doing a marathon of it, and it was going to be kind of speaking out of line, but then me and my friend said the same thing. Outside of Far From Heaven, Todd Haynes is for me. I'm not. I like I said, I like the energy of I'm Not There, and the Blanchett performance, but I don't know how much he like speaks to me. I guess on an artistic level, because his movies are like really good looking. He's got like that sort of modern version of Douglas Sirk thing going, especially in like Far From Heaven and Carol. But I don't know. It's Safe. Safe made me like really, really uncomfortable, like it was supposed to, but not in a way I don't know, went crazy for.
Yeah, Carol's the only real connection I have to Todd Haynes.
Did you not see Velvet Goldmine?
Ewan's movie, right?
Yeah, Ewan and Bale and Toni Collette.
I haven't seen it since like the early 2000s, but yeah.
And Jonathan Rhys Meyers was the other person.
Yeah, Eddie Izzard's in it too.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the only thing I have in my life.
I'd say not really thoughts on May December, but those are some Todd Haynes thoughts, if that's helpful.
Speaking of How Do They Live, Brian continues, we don't know much of it, but it was recently revealed the movie would not get a trailer, not even promo pics, except for the teaser poster. And we have a little less than a month and it premieres on July 14th in Japan. Interesting.
If only more movies took that approach.
I am trying to bounce around a little bit. We got about 15 minutes till chat cut off. We got a ton of stuff on here already. We're going to Spencer Reed time now. Spencer chimes in and says, "Hello, friends and fellow lovers of Pacific Heights. Emily Blunt is amazing in Summer of Love."
Yeah, My Summer of Love, yeah.
Great movie. Love that. Young Victoria and freaking girl on the train.
I've said this a billion times before, but it's like, yeah, the great thing about My Summer of Love is when you see the movie the first time and when you see the movie the second time are two completely different performances. And it blows my mind that's like her first real movie. And she has not thrown away that potential, thank God. That's why she's the best.
I guess we're meaning the Bluntville.
Indeed.
Because just to really confuse everything, there was somebody that put out a film from like years before called The Girl on the Train on DVD at the same time and tried to do a pretty much copycat cover, but it's nothing to do with that.
So we have other questions. See, these are new questions here. Favorite fall movie that gets you in the fall spirit?
For me, that's going to be anything related to Halloween, like Halloween or like Hocus Pocus or something like that.
Yeah.
That's me and my brother were saying that recently about Halloween 3, which you'll hear the complete thoughts on soon enough. Yeah, just anything horror gets me there.
Well, I'm looking at the list here, and the ones that jump out at me immediately are Silver Linings Playbook and Coraline.
Because the thing about when I say anything really horror or Halloween related, there's a ton of like horror movies that you can watch anytime.
Yeah, of course.
But stuff like Halloween or Hocus Pocus, I can't watch out of season because it's just not right.
Hocus Pocus, I get that completely, 100%. That's a movie that you can't really. I don't feel like you can go back to during a different time of the year and have it make as much sense.
Yeah, because that's the way I am with like all the good Christmas movies. Is it's like if they're on like in the summer, I avoid them like the plague because it's like no, I can't. You can't force that feeling on me yet. It has to be natural, or it'll lose its effect.
This is, in these words, most gorgeous animated visuals outside of the new Spider-Man.
Oh, somebody already Miyazaki.
Mm-hmm.
That's just. If I had to specify, I would run stuff like probably the two. For a recent example, I would throw Encanto in there.
Encanto is a great example, actually.
Kubo and the
And
Two
given what it...
Strings.
Go ahead, Ashley.
Kubo and the Two Strings.
Kubo's a great answer.
Loving Vincent is in like its own way. Like there's times where I would struggle to call it beautiful, but there's other times obviously I certainly would. Just the fact that it's literally a painting come to life. Like literally as you can put that. There's something in there about that. Because you said, what was the adjective? Was it beautiful?
Yeah, gorgeous.
Gorgeous.
Honestly, I feel, and it's something that I've been around for so long. It seems like it's something that gets kind of pushed down by the wayside. It was one of the first Pixar ones that really like got people's eyes. But honestly, to this day, Finding Nemo is absolutely gorgeous.
Yeah.
That's how underwater scenes need to be shot when it comes to an animated movie. Not the demon Hellspawn that's out in theaters right now trying to masquerade as a live action version of said Disney movie. Coco looks great.
Maybe.
Too.
Yeah, definitely.
And Moana. Oh my God, Moana's a really great example.
I feel like WALL-E definitely has moments.
WALL-E is definitely on that list.
Like it's hard just because so much of it is set in a landfill, but but you know the shots I'm talking about.
Oh yeah, God yes. Oh, Brian says, speaking of Loving Vincent, one of the directors of the film has a new Polish oil-painted animated film called The Peasants, scheduled for later this year. Thoughts on Spiderwick Chronicles?
I got it out of Redbox.
That's a great way to start.
Probably back in 2008. Probably back in 2008 when it came out. And I have no memory of it. I can't tell you a frame of it.
Yeah, it's kind of forgettable. Oh, speaking of going back to the last question, Ratatouille comes to mind. The shots of Paris and the way it looks. But then you get into stuff like anytime, like Princess and the Frog and Frozen, and like everything just looks great now because it's supposed to. Ashley, you have any commentary on Spiderwick Chronicles? What'd you say, AJ?
What was Ashley gonna say?
Well, you were about to say something, and I cut you off to start Ashley talking.
I was gonna shoot on Frozen.
Oh, go ahead if you'd like.
I was just gonna say, I feel like apart from Let It Go, Frozen actually looks pretty generic. But maybe that's just me.
If you want generic, Frozen 2 is the generic one.
Yeah.
You know, Frozen 2 had so much potential, and then it's just like, so the villains are angry trees?
Yes. Yes, they are. Favorite movie putting certain movie tropes on their head? Obviously, the first thing that pops in my mind is Scream and Cabin in the Woods.
Yeah. It's not. This is weird. I'm never usually this person, I swear. But once again, I can tell you something that's not a movie example. But I could write you an entire essay on how Barry did this through its entire.
I mean, if you want to review the show, man, I do have room in the schedule.
Yeah, like Barry set a standard so high that everything I watch now feels so predictable by comparison. Like I'm just like I watch like generic things and I'm waiting for like them to make the really smart move or the sudden move or the thing you don't see coming and it's like, oh no, my mind's still on Barry. That's why I think that's gonna happen. Usually things just go a certain route.
Sure.
But yeah, Hader really just upped everything with that.
I mean, to some extent, Get Out. Especially with what pertains to later on in the film with
Yeah.
the twists and everything.
Oh.
Okay. Okay. Least favorite twist in a movie ever.
I think I was like 13 when I saw it. So the final twist in Basic kind of blew my mind. But thinking back on it as a 32-year-old, the final twist in Basic is bullshit. And I don't know if it was trying to pull a Usual Suspects or what, but it was really fucking pointless.
You surprised me on that one.
In what way?
I know how much you dislike certain movies, and
Are you gonna bring up Now You See Me?
I was gonna bring up Mark Ruffalo and Now You See Me. Exactly.
The reason I didn't bring that up is because the whole movie is bad. I see so many people are like, Now You See Me was such a great movie, and then the twist ruined it. And it's like, no, the movie ruined it. The movie ruined it from the start. The twist is just what gets everybody to agree with me. Basically.
I liked it, but don't forget I'm a Magic Mark, so it takes a lot for me to
You
dislike
see,
a Magic movie.
That's the thing. I would think, as somebody who loves magic, you'd hate that movie more than anybody. Because it's not magic.
No, it's not magic at all. That's like Buck Howard. Buck Howard was something I was super excited about, and it was a total like
No. You're thinking of Burt Wonderstone.
Yeah, Burt Wonderstone.
The Great Buck Howard's the John Malkovich movie.
Yes.
Where he was Tusked.
It's got
Brent in it also.
That's a good movie considered. But Burt Wonderstone.
It's right here by my head. This is Buck Howard.
Yeah, that movie was great.
Yes.
Literally. And Burt Wonderstone was trash.
Yes.
And it didn't need to be, and it was. Speaking of that, real quick, Josie says, I finished the first season of The Bear. I appreciate the emojis again of the bear.
The bear.
And the F next to it. I liked it a lot. Looking forward to season 2.
I was gonna say my least favorite twist is when 007 tried to nearly channel Austin Powers in the revelation of, oh wow, Bond and Blofeld are basically stepbros. It didn't need this.
No, it didn't.
So we have the 5-minute countdown for questions. Get them in.
Oh. Yeah. Also worst twist. Let's throw Ray Palpatine in there.
Yeah, that's a
That probably should have been my first answer.
favorite movie uncle.
Here I go again with the TV shit.
Of
The be-
course.
the best fictional uncle of all time was not in a movie. It's Uncle Phil.
Yeah.
Um, Uncle Fester.
Fester's a good one. I'm
He
surprised.
has very little. What were we saying?
I'm surprised you didn't go obvious and go Uncle Bug.
I guess I have to say this again. I know it's been said by the people that made the movie and the people that knew him that Uncle Buck was basically who John Candy was.
Yeah, totally.
Which is great. Which makes you really want to love that character. But like I said, when I got a Blu-ray of Uncle Buck, I rewatched it for the first time in a long time, and that movie is so much weirder than I remembered from childhood. The movie's really weird.
One of the ones. Oh, go ahead.
Even though he has a very small amount of screen time, I definitely want to say Uncle Henry, Dorothy's uncle in The Wizard of Oz.
The one that keeps jumping out at me is probably the most obvious one of all, and that's Cliff Robertson.
Yeah.
Shane himself is Uncle Ben.
Yeah. I mean, I love Uncle Ben as a character, but it also felt like one of those things where it's like, I'm not really passionate about that answer. I just feel like you have to say it.
What about Donald Duck?
Sure.
It's not an incorrect statement, though. Tell me I'm wrong.
I guess.
He has nephews, Huey, Dewey, and Louie. Everybody knows that.
Yes.
Uncle Jesse, Uncle Joey, Uncle
Yeah,
Jay.
most of the great uncles are in TV. So
You're
that's
not
what makes this hard.
Yeah, because I'm seeing a lot of answers right now. Technically speaking, most of the answers, I'm surprised you didn't go for Uncle Albert. Given the fact it's literally staring you right in the face right now.
Well, the thing that was hijacking my mind was the fact that basically any character that has a sibling with children is an uncle.
Yes.
So there's a lot of those, and it's like now I'm just thinking of those, and it's like, and then it's like I'm assuming the answer goes with the answer we're looking for is like characters that are typically named Uncle something, and that's what they go by.
Perhaps.
Like
yeah.
that's their main character trait is that they're an uncle.
And we'll turn that back around and do the opposite side of the coin. Aunts in movies.
I said Uncle Henry, so I have to say Aunt Em, obviously.
Obviously, I have to say Aunt May because I've already been there.
Yeah.
Hilda and Zelda. Sabrina.
When you say Aunt May, though, is it Rosemary Harris? Is it Marissa Tomei? Or is it Sally Field?
They all could be a correct answer. The character of Aunt May and the many variants. Like you mentioned the television thing. It's like the one major one that jumps out at me is the television one. That's Hilda and Zelda.
Yeah. I'm doing the thing again. My mind's going to like
TV.
Characters that have siblings that have children in movies, but aunt isn't their main trait.
I'm looking at a lot of the answers, and a lot of the answers I'm seeing on these little lineup skis are television related. They're not movie related at all. So yeah, you do have a point. Do you have an answer to that? Favorite aunt and uncle in film?
I mean, Uncle Fester from the Addams Family.
That's what AJ said.
But then in terms of aunties, uh, Aunt May's a bit too. I'm trying to think of something that isn't like that.
That was my answer. So,
yeah, there's nothing else that sort of really stands out in terms of that stuff.
okay, we're going to.
Richard Masur and My Girl.
Oh,
Her uncle. Yeah.
Speaking of sad deaths in a movie, we move on to Josie's commentary. Thoughts on the Hollywood Foreign Press Association dissolving? The Globes are not canceled. They've been bought by the company that owns all the major Hollywood trades.
I've decided to just not really follow what's going on with the Globes because they're so all over the fucking place all the time now.
I just like the fact that it means that technically the Golden Globes is going to be Dick Clark. They're going to be the Golden Dicks. Yes.
It's like those like novelty sites where it's just like, is this doing this thing or not? And it's like you go to that site and sometimes it's yes or sometimes it's no or whatever.
Sure.
I need one that just says, like, January comes around. Is the Globes having a show? Yes? Okay. No? Okay. Fine. That's all.
Thoughts on SAG going on strike, potentially?
I mean,
it'd have to do something, wouldn't it? That's a pretty... That wipes out quite a bit of what they're working.
I mean, it's unclear what there's. At first, I thought it was like sort of in solidarity with the Directors Guild,
Mm-hmm.
and then it's sort of like I wasn't sure because I'm just wondering whether it's just about the time that negotiations do happen, and it's sort of there's a lot of people that are sort of on the lower rungs of SAG that don't have a living wage. That is definitely not going to affect like the big people that are high profile. If they're actually looking down and trying to do better for fellow members that are sort of not as lucky and wealthy in life, then good, to be fair.
So Josie says, I have mixed feelings. On the one hand, there are definitely actors who could use support, extras, working man actors, animated VOs, etc. But a lot of the major actors, in quotes, are overpaid and therefore don't need to go on strike. Part of me feels like they are issuing a strike as a form of performative activism.
Well, no matter what, there's a lot of performative activism in any aspect.
We bounce back to Spencer Reed. Favorite character, face-off, or feud in a movie?
My first plan of action here is to avoid saying face-off. Even though Sean Archer and Castor Troy is one of the best feuds in movie history. How about the final showdown between Rooster Cogburn and Lucky Ned Pepper?
Interesting.
Probably more so in the Coen Brothers version, I would say.
Okay, that's fair.
I'd honestly go to Sleuth. You know, my first pick as part
Oh,
of the
yeah.
movie club, where it's literally everybody trying to one up each other, even when the other person's on the back foot. It's still a one-upsmanship.
I'd say
What where were you at? What was that?
I was gonna go with the '89 Batman.
Yeah.
That final fight between Batman and the Joker.
Yeah. Yeah, you obviously you'd want to throw a Simba and Scar in there as well.
Oh yeah, for sure. I'm trying to think of something outside of that realm that I want to jump to. Looking around the apartment, see if I can see something that we're.
I mean, I don't know whether were you a fan of Freddy versus Jason?
Yeah.
I was gonna say Rip versus Zeus.
Would you? Yeah, fuck it. I'm not making this a question. I'm making it a statement. Um, Roy Scheider and the Shark.
That's a fair one.
Yeah.
I'll give you that.
I love how we have not mentioned a Leone movie yet. A lot of Face Off and a Standoff's basically the same thing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So like any, yeah, my first answer was a Western. Yeah, probably any Western in existence.
Yeah. Might be the end all be all of this question.
Or
Yeah, I guess the end all be all to this question is probably the finale of The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly, probably.
I mean, there's also like
Reservoir
the
Dogs comes to mind.
like Kurosawa sort of stuff, like Yojimbo and all that. You know, where they have their sort of
Yeah.
big epic fight, and then they just stand there. And you have to wait 15 seconds before somebody like finally sort of starts to keel over.
I mean, you want to go back to it from earlier. The Bride versus Gogo Yubari.
The Bride versus anybody.
I like the Go-Go fight, honestly, the way that shot. I mean, obviously, there's so many things you can say. Well, the only Bride fight I can say that I wouldn't put on that list would be obviously the Bride versus Bill in the end.
I like the Vernita Green fight.
The Vernita, great.
Not only is it awesome, but it's basically like you're getting ready to walk into the theater just as it's starting, and Tarantino comes up and physically shoves you into the theater, and that's what the Vernita Green fight is.
Nice. Spencer says, I love Scorsese's mom in Casino, such a perfect natural. Favorite movie, mom? Favorite movie, dad?
I think my all-time favorite movie, Mom, has to be Melinda Dillon on A Christmas Story. Though I've also mentioned Chastain and The Tree of Life a lot for this.
Obviously, my go-to answer is Jim's dad, Eugene Levy in American Pie. Cannot.
That's an amazing. Yes.
Get away from that whenever. Moms.
Are we doing moms and dads?
Yeah, it was a co-branded question.
I'm trying to think of a dad besides Atticus Finch because that would be too obvious.
What's his name? Brian, whatever his name is from Taken.
Brian Mills.
Brian Mills.
Yeah. He's just gonna. You get on the wrong side of him. You fuck.
James Dunn in his Oscar-winning role in A Tree Grows in Brooklyn is a great movie dad. Clark Griswold, if you want to go with comedies.
Name I see popping up a lot, and I can't disagree with this. So we go back to American Pie. Jennifer Coolidge.
Oh, another dad would be Chris Gardner. Will Smith in the Pursuit of
Oh,
Happiness.
yeah. Again, there's ones that come to mind that are television related, not movie related.
And also one of my go-tos is Ethan Hawke in Boyhood, because Ethan Hawke in Boyhood basically is my dad.
Accurate.
I want to say Elastigirl.
That's one I see popping up every once in a while.
Because the fact we know with Incredibles 2, we sort of like get like it revolving a lot around her.
Yeah. I like to throw a shout out to Dan Aykroyd and Reba McEntire in North.
You couldn't have at least said Dan Aykroyd and My Girl. You had to go to North.
Jason Alexander and Julia Louis-Dreyfus in North.
Oh.
Keep in mind, North is coming to the network. There is no way around it. It will happen one day.
That'll be an interesting conversation.
Yeah, it will. Do we have any other answers before we move on? Favorite Fast and Furious director? Justin Lin for 3 and 4 is Spencer's answer.
Juan by far.
When it knew what
Honestly,
movie genre it wanted to be. Before, I'd say, was it Lin that did 5?
Yeah, I think Lin did 3 through 6 and then 9, I think. Why do I know this?
I don't know.
5 was probably like the last, despite, you know, the vault scene and everything, the last one that felt credible. From Fast 6, it basically became, right, this is a superhero franchise now.
I'll stand by. I think 7's great. I'll stand by that. But then that's where they went. 8 and forward is just I have not even seen 10 yet, and I genuinely don't care right now.
I haven't. I just see clips of like all these bits that are like, what is this doing in a Fast like? What's rather telling is my cinema's getting rid of it in favor of all the other Disney and Warner Brothers products.
So just so we know our roster, so 1 was Rob Cohen.
Yep, I have it in front.
For some reason, I will never understand. The second movie was Singleton.
Yep.
And another thing I don't quite understand is I believe 8 was F. Gary Gray.
That is correct.
And then Juan did 7, and all the rest were Lin.
That is correct.
I don't know who did 10.
That's a Lin as well.
Did Lin do...
Oh yeah, it was just recently that Lin left, right?
Yeah.
Did Lin do
like
Hobbs?
Lin said he's done after 10, I think.
So they split 10 into pieces so he could stick around for that second half. Genius.
I'm trying to remember. Oh, it was David Leitch that did Hobbs and Shaw as well.
Yeah.
That explains a lot. I mean, I respect the guy for his stunt career, but yeah, Deadpool 2 and Bullet Train and Hobbs and Shaw, not big to me.
I don't like any of those movies for multiple reasons. Josie mentioned
there is this forever erection that people have for Bullet Train, and I don't fucking get it.
Yeah, I remember.
And it's one of those annoying things too, where I only ever hear people sucking its dick, but they also always say it's underrated.
What? No.
Oh my god!
You
I wanna rip
constantly
my
put
fucking hair.
constantly put something over. It's not underrated at all. Josie brings up, oh golly, Rosie O'Donnell and Harriet the Spy for an ant figure.
That's a great answer. Yes.
The Mom and Iron Giant, and John Candy and Summer Rental.
The scene where Rosie O'Donnell leaves in Harriet the Spy still bums me out.
Oh yeah. Favorite. I'm sticking out of this question, but you guys can have fun with it. Favorite scene in each of the Scary Movie films.
5 has none. It's out of the equation. Oh shit.
I legitimately hate this franchise on principle alone.
1 through 3, I'll stand by. I think my favorite moment in 3 is Simon Rex has so many great moments in 3, but I think the best moment in 3, because it's just so out of left field, is when what's the word that you do to a shotgun? Anthony Anderson does that to a shovel.
He cocked the shotgun.
Shell pops out.
Wow.
Rack, is that the word? He racks the shotgun?
Something like that. You're talking to the guy who's never touched a gun in his life.
Yeah, Anthony Anderson does that to a shovel and a shell pops out.
Jesus.
And it's like a blink and you'll miss it joke.
Like the Transformers joke we always get. Favorite character in Toy Story 2? Go ahead.
Well, we're kind of still on the Scary Movie thing.
All right.
Anytime Shawn Wayans is going to get into a fight and he says, "Get my Vaseline," is a great running joke. Oh my god, there's so many jokes in those. I actually don't even know the answer to this. I can't single one out because those movies are constant jokes. Yeah, I guess if you guys don't have any more, maybe we are done with the Scary Movie thing.
Yeah, it's just sort of like Scary Movie 1's like got a lot of iconic stuff. Was it 2 that gave it what's up?
What was
it
that?
Would have to be early in the franchise.
Or was it 1? 1 or 2?
What was the question?
Budweiser parody.
That was up.
I'm assuming I can answer this, but
I was
I
going
missed
to say
the
it
question.
had to have been 2.
Was up. That one. The running joke from the beer commercial.
Yeah, that one's in 1.
Okay, it's in 1. Okay.
The only bit I remember vaguely from 3 is basically Leslie Nielsen just doing his Leslie Nielsen self and just not reacting to all funny shit happening. I don't remember much else about that stuff.
There's I can't remember if it's 3 or 4. I think it's 3. There's that running joke where like Kevin Hart is the runt of the group. And so there's this moment where they're like shoving him in between them while they're getting to a fight, and then they just shove him into a wall to get him out of the way. And it's like, because it's Kevin Hart.
When you move, so do we have a move on to your favorite character in Toy Story 2?
I mean, I guess it would be. I want to say Jesse, just based on Joan Cusack's performance.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, Jesse's this. I'd say Jesse mainly, but I'd give a nod to Barbie as well, just for the bloody post credits bit where it's like, bye bye, bye bye, bye bye now. Oh, thank God.
Who's next? All right. Josie asks, which fictitious chef or cook would you like to serve you, have their own cooking show, or read a cookbook by? Artie Bucko from The Sopranos, Mrs. Lovett from Sweeney Todd, Swedish Chef, Soup Nazi, or Richard Borst from The Cook, The Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover.
We're not putting fines into the conversation. Interesting.
Yeah, it's very. I thought that was strange.
I mean, with those options, I would say the Swedish Chef. Yeah, Artie would be an obvious choice also, because part of this question is they're serving you, right? So Mrs. Lovett better not come anywhere near me. So,
but there's 3 tiers to this: serve you, you would like to see have their own cooking show, or read a cookbook by. So perhaps 3 different answers.
okay, so serve you would be Artie. Cooking show would be the Swedish Chef. What was the third one?
Read a cookbook by.
Maybe that would be Mrs. Love.
I would say the cookbook would be Ray from the Menu. You know, because I don't think I'd sort of like want to experience his office crazy stuff. The cooking show would probably be Swedish Chef, and I'd probably say Bors from The Cook, The Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, because like, other than the obvious infamous scene, he cooks a lot of good shit for everyone else.
Guys, I kind of avoided that because I wasn't sure which direction we were supposed to.
Yeah.
I don't have many options here because I've never seen The Sopranos or The Cook, The Thief, His Wife, and Her Lover, and I'm not going to add things on here that are missing. So I literally have literal 3 options.
I mean, Artie just has an Italian restaurant, basically.
Well, then it'd probably be best that he serves me. The cookbook, I'm very curious to see what the Soup Nazi would come up with.
Yeah, because you wouldn't want to be served by him, but you want to know why it's so good, though, right?
Yeah. And then, honestly, I think we need mad subtitles for the Swedish Chef doing his own cooking show, and it'd be amazing. Who'd win in a fight, Mrs. Lovett or Mrs. Tweedy from Chicken Run?
I love that you can take some pretty unassuming characters, and Josie's first thought is, what would these people be like fighting?
Yeah. Yeah, totally.
I mean, Mrs. Lovett is insane, but she doesn't really take action. She just works with the aftermath.
Sure.
Also,
so
at
she
times,
might not be
Tweedy does feel like a Terminator.
I mean, yeah, I can see that. All right. So recently, there was a marriage between Naomi Watts and Billy Crudup. In honor of that, what are your favorite performances from both of them?
A Naomi Watts performance that more people need to see that is outstanding is Mother and Child.
I mean, Russell Hammond is
Yeah, I was
the
gonna say,
the default answer here.
oh my God, of course. Billy Crudup would be rudderless, which is also something that is very under the radar that people need to seek out. I want to say William H. Macy directed it, and it's about like grieving and music, and it's very, very good, and he is incredible in it.
Yeah, it's from 2014, actually.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's got a review. I think it was one of the Buffalo Wild Wings reviews.
That makes
It's on there.
Crudup starred with Anton Yelkin, Felicity Huffman, Lawrence Fishburne, and Selena Gomez.
Just in general.
That was the movie.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah.
Obviously, for me, the correct answer is always going to be Russell Hammond. And I have to throw a shout to Dr. Manhattan. But there is a role of his that I don't think enough people saw, because it's a movie that I know had some buzz back then, but I don't know how well people have like followed it throughout the years. And that's Will Bloom in Big Fish.
Oh yeah.
I love Big Fish. Naomi Watts. Might be a little harder for me, but I can look into it.
I like Billy's sort of sub-villain in Mission Impossible 3.
That's fair.
Yeah.
And then for me, always, Naomi Watts' best performance is when she stormed out of Sion Mayo's interview because she wasn't happy with the questioning about Diana. That's her best acting thing. She was like, oh, sorry, we've got to go. We've run out of time. And just walked out the room, and he's like, but we have 5 more minutes. And she's just gone. She was never seen again. Like,
movies that come to mind for me: Mulholland Drive,
Mm-hmm.
I Heart Huckabees, Funny Games.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's pretty clear her best performance is Mulholland Drive. But if I wanted to direct people to something they probably haven't seen her in, it would be Mother and Child.
The Impossible's one that I think went under a lot of people's radars too.
Yeah, I think most people remember it now as a Tom Holland movie.
That's exactly right.
Despite her Oscar nomination for it.
Josie says, speaking of Scary Movie 3 and the rap scene, Fat Joe is a cameo. Fat Joe is a memoir. It's called The Book of Jose. Toy Story 2. Which of the Pixar films had the best outtakes? Bugs Life, Toy Story 2, or Monsters, Inc.?
I never really. I think they're really corny. I never cared for any of them. I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. I used to love Monsters, Inc., but I think Monsters University has put it on such a keel now that I can't ever watch that movie again, because I hate Monsters University that much. It ruined that movie for me.
You know it's 10 years old this year, right?
That's crazy to think. Yeah.
Surely it would have covered. But I mean, you can hate a movie for 10 years. I'm just saying, as far as it affecting another movie, I would think that the other movie would be out of the clear by now.
Dude, if those old hats were everywhere, it'd probably be easier to just get it out of sight, out of mind. But unfortunately, it faces me every time I walk out that door, and that's a shoot. Josie says it's funny in the bloopers in Toy Story 2. Stinky Pete tells the Barbies, "You girls want to be in Toy Story 3?" That aged well. Josie says, just like Harvey Weinstein and according to accusations, John Lasseter. I ain't touching that. I didn't even know about this Lasseter thing. That's all news to me.
You don't?
No. How would it come across my field of vision?
How did it not come across your field of vision?
It never went.
How many years ago was this now? It's been a few.
Yeah, it never came across like my social media feeds.
A lot of people
talked about it.
A lot of people say they really hate to say it, but it seems like Lasseter having to leave kind of coincides with Pixar sucking lately.
That's a fair assessment.
But like you said, I don't want to really go anywhere near that conversation. But Lasseter's not a very good dude. That's what you need to know.
That's fair. Okay. Josie has a buy one, rent one, lose one, Texas edition. It doesn't involve Killer Joe or Texas Chainsaw in any way, shape, or form. Days of Heaven. Bottle Rocket. The Searchers. The Life and Times of Judge Roy Bean. Happy Texas. Giant. Wild Bunch. Varsity Blues. House of a Thousand Corpses. Tender Mercies. Mal's Last Dancer. Last Picture Show. Blood Simple. Places in the Heart. And The Best Little Whorehouse in Texas. I don't have one to get rid of because I haven't seen a lot of these.
Yeah, the top two are The Searchers.
Go ahead.
The top two for me are The Searchers and The Last. I'm not really sure. There was one I had the Mao's whatever it is.
Yeah.
I haven't seen it, but it's in this room.
Of course. Movies are.
I don't know that I can oust any of the ones that I've. Nothing stood out to me of the other ones that I've seen that would deserve ousting. So I guess I will say that. Just.
Yeah, we'll have to do that on principle because I can't answer it otherwise. So which one are you buying and which one are you renting?
Well, Paris, Texas wasn't there, right?
Happy Texas, but not Paris, Texas.
Okay, yeah. Buying The Searchers, renting the show.
Okay. Ashley.
Trying to check some of these other films because I'm trying to work out which, if any, I'm going to get rid of. I'd rent Bottle Rocket and probably buy Wild Bunch. And maybe just because I haven't heard of it, Mal's Last Dancer.
We're all getting rid of that one apparently because I don't have any other answers. But I have different answers. Like it's funny because we all have.
What if that movie's amazing?
We all have different answers what we buy and rent this time around, and usually that doesn't happen. I rent Varsity Blues and buy House of a Thousand Corpses.
Okay.
There's no Texas at all, so there's no Texas Chainsaw whatsoever. So it's like, Yeah, out of those two, the only other one that I would even put in that list would be Tender Mercies.
There's so many great movies set in Texas. It's weird.
Oh, this is coming back from like hour and 20 minutes ago. Josie says, love the snow fight in Top Gun Maverick.
I guess that counts, yeah.
Well, if you want to go that route, then I could say the snowball fight in Groundhog Day too. All right. We are doing quite well, my friends. Spencer, read questions. Then we've got some things from Brian. Then we're going to take it home. Favorite scene in the desert, says Spencer.
The very first one that jumped in my head was Beavis and Butthead Do America, but I know that.
I was going to say Wayne's World too, so we're even on that aspect.
I almost instinctively said Natural Born Killers, but I actually think that's my least favorite scene of Natural Born Killers.
That's fair.
I only saw it because people were complaining about Netflix boasting about AI doing it better. But the quote-unquote match shot from Lawrence of Arabia, where him blowing out the match and cutting straight to the sunrise on the horizon. Beautiful.
I'm surprised.
And just any scene in Dune, obviously. Any outdoor Arrakis scene. Yeah.
All right. Moving on. Favorite scene in a pyramid?
How many movies have we been in a pyramid?
There can't be very many.
Do we have some examples?
Hold on. This is not helpful at all. It says set in a pyramid, so I could give cheap and say Silent Hill, but it's not set in a pyramid. Can't say Gravity Falls, it's not set in a pyramid. Technically speaking, go with any of the Mummy movies. But I don't know movies in pyramids. That's a very interesting conundrum, my friend.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to abstain from this. I think I have no idea.
Ashley, do you have any answers? Do you want to move on?
I mean, it's not technically in the pyramid, but you've got the dramatic tension scene in Death on the Nile, which is I think that's in or around the Great Pyramid and the ruins that are there. Although technically the correct answer is the pyramid level in the final level of GoldenEye on the N64, where you have to kill Baron Samedi. Well, kill.
Doesn't National Treasure have some sort of a pyramid scene?
Surely.
I mean, technically,
Probably.
the only correct answer is the Da Vinci Code.
That's the one I was looking at.
Technically, the Louvre is a pyramid.
It is. Okay, best movies, favorite scenes in a bunker.
Well, I think Cloverfield Lane's the first one that comes to mind.
Cloverfield is the correct answer here for sure. I agree.
No, I don't know. I think there's fire. Downfall. When Hitler just loses his shit.
technically speaking, Blast from the Past is an answer.
Yeah.
Those are the two I would jump to immediately.
Is
Didn't talk
Strangelove's
about
War
war
Room
movies.
technically a bunker?
Huh?
Is Strangelove's War Room technically a bunker?
That's on you, AJ.
Hard to say. I'm trying to remember if we ever got an exterior shot.
Yeah, I was going to
That would
think.
tell.
It feels like something that would happen in a bunker because it's all the world leaders. So, but I'd still stick with Downfall. When Hitler just calmly putting his pencils down and then losing his shit.
Here's an interesting one. We're going to stick with the horror genre for a minute. Favorite Saw or Hostel trap?
I
mean,
favorite would be an interesting word to use here.
Yeah.
I like the simplicity of the basic one in Saw. The two guys sort of cuffed together, and you give them a dull hacksaw and go, right, get out. Because that's more prolonged. That's not like, I've put a stupid trap on your head, it's instant death. This is like something that's going to lead to actual, like, long-term torture.
I feel like it's cheap to say the bear trap, but I feel like because the bear trap was obviously the original idea because it comes from the short that they made.
Right.
But then
I mean, that's
it's like every movie. It's like you get the sense that the bear trap is so well thought out that everything after that just feels like, okay, now we've got to try to up the reverse bear trap, and it's like sometimes level 1 is best.
It is kind of a generalized answer, but I would say it's probably the one that I want to go with as well. There's some good ones though, but like
I don't really know that Hostel's in the same category as this. Hostel's just like elaborate murder. I mean, that's what the traps are in Saw.
Hostel is torture porn.
Saw traps are also made to be escapable. And Hostel's just, yeah.
Actually, if you want to go back to a question from an hour ago, you want to talk about saddest deaths in the movie, I'd say Heather Matarazzo in Hostel 2. I like that character a lot, and she did not need to die the way she did. Favorite camping scene in a movie?
Fucking voluntary or involuntary camping?
Just camping in general.
Because, like, for some reason, Alive pops into my head.
A lot of Moonrise Kingdom.
That's a good one.
Yeah.
I like those answers. I don't want to go further. I'm a Camp Nowhere guy. Heavyweights. But that's more camp than camping, so.
Yeah, I can think of so many movies with camping, but not like specific scenes of camping that stand out.
And on top of that, favorite campfire scene. And favorite movie that uses an outhouse at camp or a bathroom far away from the cabin.
Well, Outhouses brings the Hateful Eight to mind.
Yeah.
Scene where they have to build like the light trail to it.
Yes.
I mean, favorite outhouse scene: the opening of Shrek.
That's a good one. Slumdog Millionaire comes to mind because we talk about it all the time in different ways.
The campfire one, I think there was a campfire involved with it, but it's Jason X. When the two chicks like take their tops off, and then the next thing you see, they've been stuck in a bloody duvet bag, and they're just getting smacked over and over on the tree trunk.
Like one of my that is like one of my favorite parts of that movie. I just laughed hysterically when I watched that scene.
It's a call back to a kill in the 7th movie. He only does it once.
Favorite scene with the flashlight. And favorite scene in a tent.
For tent, there's a movie that did not get the love it deserved, which was Willow Creek, where Bobcat Goldthwait basically did Blair Witch, but with Bigfoot.
So freaking good.
There's a very long scene where the camera's only in one place inside the tent when like an attack happens, and it's terrifying if that's your kind of thing. A lot of people would have the same reaction to it they did to Blair Witch. The people that hated Blair Witch, but yeah, where people say like not a lot is happening, but I found it pretty terrifying.
It's another movie that not enough people have seen or know the existence of, and it's a shame.
Well, I don't really like go out of my way to recommend it because a lot of people that have seen it kind of hated it, were bored with it, and I feel like anybody else I would introduce it to would. There's a highly likely chance of. So I just don't.
2 more questions to Spencer Reed, then we're going to Brian's Oscar game. We're going to take this stuff home. Favorite scene in a factory? I think we had this question because I brought up the Mangler and I talked about Wayne's World. And
I mentioned the sex scene in 8 Mile.
Yep.
We didn't bring up Weird.
Oh, yeah. Now that'd be something to be true now. Okay, I got one more question from Spencer before we go home tonight. Favorite Robert De Niro movie from 2000 to 2010?
Everybody's Fine was 2009. That wouldn't be the only answer, would it?
The Irishman's up there for sure.
That's not in the 2010, is it?
Then it's 2010.
Hold on. 2019. Give me a minute. Hold on. 2000 to 2010. Yes. Okay, hold on. Yeah. Hold on. Hold on. Oh, wow.
I liked him as Captain Shakespeare in Stardust. Although probably his most iconic bit of that time would probably be Meet the Parents.
Silver Linings Playbook.
That was
You're still outside of 2010.
Dang it. That has to be
Oh
the
yeah,
default answer.
I forgot the First Meet the Parents falls into this, but you
Everybody's
know what?
fine.
I haven't seen it in a long time, but you know what movie I remember actually genuinely liking is City by the Sea. The one with him, McDormand, and Franco.
I don't remember it very much.
I believe William Forsythe was the villain in it, I think.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna have to go with Everybody's Fine.
Do you want to go through the other quick four from Spencer that you missed?
I didn't miss any from Spencer.
They got put in the middle of Bry's Academy Award stuff.
I don't have any of that stuff.
Oh.
I got all of the questions. I broke them all up.
Well, because I don't remember you saying favorite sound effect in a movie.
I never got that question.
Oh, it's in the chat.
Didn't see it.
Favorite sound effect. Just because it polarizes people, the bloody slide whistle in Man with a Golden Gun.
Oh, how dare you?
John Barry never used a slide whistle that much in his career.
Well, then you have 3 other questions I don't have then.
Yeah. Favorite movie, creature, or monster?
What monster?
Favorite movie, creature, or monster?
Elmer and Brain Damage.
Vincent D'Onofrio and Men in Black.
I'd probably say The Thing.
That's a good one.
The Thing and The Thing. Or John Carpenter's Thing, I should say.
Also could be it. That is a correct statement.
Favorite food fight in a live action movie? I know you said that because you know I was going to say the animated food fight film because reasons.
We've already talked about that.
I feel like this is the 5th time we've gotten the food fight question.
Yeah.
Yes.
Pay attention. This one we haven't. Favorite use of worms in a movie? See, I don't want to say the stereotypes of, Tremors and Dune and everything.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah, Beetlejuice is a good one.
Maybe Return of the Jedi? Because I'm guessing it's a worm, that Sarlacc pit thing. What popped Owen?
Nope, I'm not saying that on camera. Or on camera in this case.
Was it? There's an animated movie where Richard Kind voices a bookworm. Was that Wreck-It Ralph? Or was it a Toy Story?
I know what you're talking about, but I don't remember what movie it was. Hold on.
I keep thinking it's Wreck-It Ralph, but I'm not sure.
Doesn't really. Wow, I'm an idiot.
Because they go to him for information.
Yes. It is Toy Story 3.
Okay.
That's a good one. I like that. Also, shout out to Boogeyman. You want to talk about worms? Talk about the Boogeyman. How to eat fried worms, of course. That's an obvious one.
The worm farm and the apartment in Dumb and Dumber. We only see it from a distance, but it's there.
It's a shame that there hasn't been like a full-on proper adaptation yet of Roald Dahl's Twit, because there's obviously an infamous bit in that involves worms that you could have easily sort of spun into some sort of thing. I guess there's just not enough meat on the bone for it to really go anywhere.
All right. And we're ending the show with the Oscar game of 2000's original score.
I completely forgot we were doing this.
Yep. And this is the last thing we're going to do before we end tonight. 2000. Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon. Chocolat. The Patriot. Gladiator. Or is it Milena?
I think so.
Yeah. What were the? It was Gladiator. And what?
Crouching Tiger, The Patriot, Chocolat.
Yeah, it would probably be Crouching Tiger.
I agree.
Yeah, I'd give a slight edge to Gladiator as well, mainly because the other two people didn't even get a chance to be nominated. They just went with Hans Zimmer, which I think is a bit cruel.
Crouching Tiger was the winner, by the way, in the Oscar race. Lord of the Rings won in 2001 for Fellowship. Or would we choose AI, Beautiful Mind, Sorcerer's Stone, or Monsters, Inc.?
Having Fellowship and the Sorcerer's Stone in the same year is just cruel.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'd oh, fuck, man. I mean, the one that I'm more emotionally attached to is Harry Potter, but I almost want to say the Rings is the answer.
Okay. Ashley?
Either or. I'm honestly not sure. Rings and Sorcerer's Stone have the sort of legacy really with them, so
I'm going with Sorcerer's Stone. Frida won in 2002, but would you select instead The Hours, Far From Heaven, Catch Me If You Can, or Road to Perdition?
Catch Me If You Can is more unique.
Yep.
But Road to Perdition is pretty interesting also, especially when Jude Law comes in. Maybe I'll say Road to Perdition because it fits the time, but then they also do some really unique and weird things with it, so that's fun. You can still hear a little bit of American Beauty in it too.
Yep. Ashley, what are you going with?
probably Catch Me If You Can.
I would say either Catch Me If You Can or Road to Perdition. 2003, the Rings won again for Return of the King. Or would you rather choose The House of Sand and Fog, Finding Nemo, Cold Mountain, or Big Fish?
You'd be down to weirdly enough, be down to Big Fish and Nemo.
Same.
I'll say Big Fish because Danny Elfman's a genius and should have one by now, even though I think Big Fish is his only nomination up to this point.
Yep. I'm going to go with Big Fish as well, even though I love the Nemo score, but it's such a whimsical score when it comes to Big Fish. It fits exactly what an Elfman score should, and it deserves to win. Ashley, what do you got?
I'd edge Big Fish as well.
Finding Neverland won in 2004. Or would you pick Prisoner of Azkaban, Lemony Snicket, The Passion of the Christ, or The Village?
I guess Azkaban by default. That's not a great line. So I don't really remember. My memory of Finding Neverland is actually really vague. So it could be a deserving winner, but I really wouldn't remember.
I would say either Neverland or Azkaban.
Yeah, I'd probably say Azkaban.
Okay. Brokeback won 2005. Or would you choose The Constant Gardener? Memoirs of a Geisha. Bring back some memories, AJ.
Yeah.
Munich or Pride and Prejudice?
Brokebacks is beautiful and iconic. I would not have picked anybody else.
Closest I would have got would have been Munich, but at the end of the day, Brokeback's the winner.
Yeah, Brokeback.
2006. 2006 went to Babel. Or would you choose The Good German, Notes on a Scandal, The Queen, or Pan's Labyrinth?
I gotta come clean and say I don't really remember the scores to any of those five.
Yeah,
I'd probably
I'll kind of
Pan's
forget.
Labyrinth.
Pan's Labyrinth is my
Set
answer,
the right
though.
atmosphere.
Atonement won in 2007. Would you pick The Kite Runner, Michael Clayton, Ratatouille, or 310 to Yuma instead?
The exclusion of There'll Be Blood is crazy.
Yeah.
I kind of want to say 310 to Yuma, actually.
I'm actually going to go with Ratatouille.
Yeah, I'd have said Ratatouille.
Atonement's a good winner.
I agree with that. 2008, of course, the year of the joke that will never die, Slumdog Millionaire. Speaking of a joke that'll never die, Benjamin Button, Milk, Defiance, or Wally?
Did Elfman do Milk?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so Big Fish isn't his only nomination then.
Apparently
I don't
not.
know where I grabbed that from.
You're half asleep. It's okay.
That distracted me. I don't remember what the nominees were now.
Slumdog, Benjamin Button, Defiance, Milk, Wally.
Yeah, it's Slumdog because it's got the unique factor.
I'm gonna go with Wally on this one.
No, I go with Slumdog.
It's got the unique factor among these. I mean,
yeah,
sure. But Disney was to win the next year in 2009 as we take it home with Up. Or would you pick Avatar, Mr. Fox, The Hurt Locker, or Sherlock Holmes?
I would take Holmes has the most memorable one of those. But I really want to say Fantastic Mr. Fox too. I almost did until I remembered Holmes was here.
I'm between those two. Fox
I'm
has
between
the
Up and
Jarvis Cocker song, but I don't remember much of the score. But a lot of Zimmer's score in Sherlock Holmes, I still have on music players and whatever, or just it comes around in my Spotify list. Whether it's that or I guess the variants that got done for Book of Shadows a few years later.
So next, in 2 weeks, which will be on that Tuesday,
27th.
So Tuesday the 27th, we'll be doing Brian's personal Oscar lineup of 2014. And our game is original songs of the 1990s, as requested by Ashley. Brian said he also may make an unlisted YouTube playlist and put the link on the Discord server of the 90s songs. Nice. That's your show, ladies and gentlemen. So thank you for joining us again tonight. Thank you to Brian, Spencer, and Josie for bringing commentary into the chat. If you were here tonight and you didn't say anything, thank you for tuning in. We appreciate that every single week here that we do this bi-weekly here on Popcast Network. If you do have questions, 2 weeks, 27th, when we're going to be back here again for another episode. Pop the question. Ashley's content will be hopefully growing on the network within the next few months, so we'll get more information on that in the near future. But if you want to follow him on social media, you can.
I have received word that the UK is getting the Lotus Biscoff McFlurry in a week or two, so
Ooh,
we'll see how fancy that is.
sounds
Apparently,
fancy.
the only other place I've seen it in was Croatia.
Oh, wow. So snack stashes are forthcoming. More gaming content possibly in the near future as well. Follow him on Twitter at AshesMyNameUK.
Mhm.
AJ, just like Keith Richards, cannot be killed by conventional weapons and also cannot be found on any form of social media. But if you would like to leave him a comment, you can on the videos, and also come here and chat with him live bi-weekly here on Popcast Network. AJ's next movie review is coming at you supposed to be tomorrow, so stay tuned for that. Are we good on that, or are we waiting until Wednesday?
I hope there's some stuff going on tomorrow, but I will do what I can.
AJ will have a movie review within the next few days here on the network, and if not, there'll be some more Sip and Snack videos coming your way. If not, either way, we'll have more Sip and Snack videos coming your way. And speaking of that, more Sip and Snacks, more Voices content, and I did film the whole water park show, and that's coming out the end of July for obvious reasons. If you know, you know. Needless to say, all that information can be found also on Twitter at Sir Owen Disney, which I tweet out a link to all other videos. So if you haven't checked out the network, you can do so. There's easily clickable for everything, so you can check that out. And that's going to be your show. So once again, thanks everyone for joining us. We're back here on the 26th for Popcast Movie Club on Confessions of a Dangerous Mind, which is AJ's pick, which I'm very excited to talk about again. We're back here with Pop the Question the day after, that Tuesday. And of course, because everyone knows that Sunday is forbidden doors, so that's the reason why we're doing Monday and Tuesday. And then we'll go into July, and then August, and then come September, AJ basically takes the channel over for 2 months, and that's going to be a fun time for all of us. Lots of cool new stuff to look forward to. If you're a fan of movie content on this network, you'll be very happy. And we're only 2 months away from getting the shindig started over again. The top 8 categories for the Oscar predictions for 2024's award ceremony coming your way in August. So, that being said, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. And as always, stream intellectual property and check out water parks if you haven't yet. Go check out any film out there, and who knows, maybe you'll see something that's going to win awards. Maybe you'll see something that you enjoy. Maybe you'll see something you get to rip to shreds and have some fun with it. At the end of the day, movies are preferential. That being said, I want to thank you guys and girls out there for watching. And until tomorrow, boys and girls, that's all we got to say about that.